Yeah.
Through this mixer. Hello. Oh yeah. So what are we doing here? I know. Thanks a lot for everyone for coming out. If you've come for this, no doubt you come here all the time. I'm Gilles, and I'm going to play a few tunes. And because I've been in New York for a few days, I've got a few records that I bought the last couple of days. I just wanted to play them. Right, so this is kind of like me at my bedroom or my front room. In fact, I don't have a record player in my bedroom or in my front room.
But you do in the basement.
But I do, yeah. I don't actually have a... It's funny, I was talking... I'm here to do a documentary. Apart from doing all the stuff at Winter Jazz, we're doing a feature which I'm going to broadcast next week on the BBC, next Saturday. And I interviewed Ron Carter yesterday, which was an amazing experience. I went to his house, but anyway, to connect it to him, he doesn't have any music in his house. No record player, no piano. I think I don't see a bass. I saw a full-size snooker table and a nice kitchen, but no, I didn't see it. So anyway, this is the first record. This is a record that I got just now. Not in here, but I'm going to play a couple of things in here because there's some good stuff. There's a Filipino keyboard player that I've been fascinated by for about 25 years because he put one record out in America, and it was on a label called Pausa, and so I was a bit of a fan. I've always been looking for Boy Katingdig records. And I was talking to Silent J from the Mandarin Dreams in Australia, who's also part Filipino. And I asked him, does he know any music by Boy Katingdig? And he didn't know. So when I was in a record shop just now, I saw a record by Boy Katingdig. And it's not that good, but there's one soul. It sounded all right when I had it on the headphones in the shop. So can we try it out? It's a little slow one. By the way, you know what I was thinking about? When you're doing club gigs, I was watching a thing the other day, and everyone was slow dancing at the end of the night. And in the old days, when you used to do DJ gigs, when I was when I was growing up, when I was 15, 16, first like weddings and stuff, I used to do DJing. At the end of the night, everyone would have a slow dance, and that's why records like "Wishing on a Star" by Rolls Royce became hits, or "Three Times Ladies" by the Commodores became hits because people used to dance to them in clubs. So I want to bring back, one of my New Year's resolutions is to bring back the slow dance at the end of the night, and I'm going to start off with a slow dance today. Here we go. I hope it's good.
Waking up to see it's over.
Our dreams of love could stay forever.
Everyone feels love more stronger
As the night goes flowing by, like our dreams keep riding high. Let our love reach to the sky, like our dreams keep riding high. The feeling means love. The feeling means love. The feeling means love. The feeling means love.
I hate it when I say to Lefto, "It's a good tune, isn't it?" And he just goes, "Yeah, it's right." I think that's a good tune. I do. I like it. Boy Katingdig. I got that today. Right. What I'm gonna do. I've worked it out. We've got Lani as well. Alana from Brownswood Records. This is a Brownswood Records sort of showcasey thing, right? Without any bands. And I'm not gonna play any Brownswood stuff, but Alana is. I'll play a couple at the end. And Lefto's gonna play. Have you got any Brownswood stuff? Anyway, what I'm going to do in my little section, I'm going to play like one track from different areas of music that I love to play as a DJ, and little discoveries I've made recently, like this one. This is because I'm mad about Brazilian music, and so when I find something that I've not heard other DJs play or that just sounds brilliant and is unknown, I get excited. This is Ed Carlos about to play. It's not been reissued yet, thank God.
No caminho longo da vida, vou cantando à procura do amor. Se não encontro, não fico pensando pra onde é que vou. O que vou fazer? Não quero saber. O que vou fazer? Não quero saber. Essa vida que levo não nego, não são todos que podem levar. Mas se encontro alguém que me ame, daí vou parar. O meu coração não é bobo não. O meu coração não é bobo não. Eu não me importo com as coisas do mundo. Nada me interessa, eu vou como o vento for. Nasci de um momento importante da vida. A nada me prendo, cantando eu vou. Cantando eu vou. No caminho longo da vida, vou cantando à procura procura do amor. Se não encontro, não fico pensando pra onde é que eu vou. O que vou fazer? Não quero saber. O que vou fazer? Não quero saber. Essa vida que levo não nego, não são todos que podem levar. Mas se encontro alguém que me ame, daí vou parar. O meu coração não é bobo não. O meu coração não é bobo não.
That's a good one. And what I like about that as well is that it's interesting how that record goes into sort of, I don't know if you recognise Young Holt Unlimited Soulful Strut on that. And so they were sort of obviously listening to American soul records on Brunswick in Brazil, which is such a nice little connection, I thought. Z Maria. This is from Ghana, this one. This is the Freedom Family. All right, that is so good. So that's my little Colombian moment. I picked that up a couple of days ago, and actually I realised that this is a record that was Quantic, who lived in New York for a little while. Will Quantic, apparently he drops off the odd record to this record shop. I got it. I think it comes from his collection. And hopefully he sold it to me at a decent price. La Caballeros de Colón. And before that, little piece of music from Ghana, which is by the Freedom Family. I'm just playing a few tunes that I've bought this week. And being in New York, I'm so happy I got this record. This is a classic disco, New York disco record. And it's got a really amazing keyboard solo halfway through. Check it.
I've got the merch
how good is that record? I thought it was amazing. That's a group called Pulse, and it's funny because as I was playing it, Mr. Louis Vega walked into the shop, who is the king of that sound. So big up to Louis. We're going to stay a little bit into this kind of New York boogie disco sound right now, because I made another discovery this week on my record shopping, which was there was a record in the UK which was an American record by Clyde Alexander. Called Got to Get You My Love, which is a huge underground record in the UK, notably played by a DJ called Trouble Anderson, who passed away last year. And I always remember that song being a song that he used to play in the clubs in the UK back in the 90s, when there was a really good underground house scene, which there still is. And anyway, when I was in a record shop the other day, they were playing a different version of that song. I couldn't believe it. And apparently this is the original. Have a listen. You'll recognise it.
Is what I need. Your love is what I'm about, and your love I want to keep. Your love's the best, no doubt. It's your love I desire. Your love has the power. It sets my soul on fire. I love will truly flower. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Hey, gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Your love is what I need. Your love is what I'm about, and your love I want to keep. Your love's the best, no doubt. It's your love I desire. Your love has the power. It sets my soul on fire. Our love will truly flower. Gotta get your love. 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 Your love is what I need. Your love is what I'm about. Your love I want to keep. Your love's the best, no doubt. It's your love I desire. Your love has the power. It sets my soul on fire. Our love will truly flower. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Get your love. Gotta 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 get your love. Your love is what I need. Your love is what I'm about, and your love I want to keep. Your love's the best, no doubt. It's your love I desire. Your love has the power. It sets my soul on fire. Our love will truly flower. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Your love is what I need. Your love is what I'm about. Your love I want to keep. Your love's the best, no doubt. It's your love I desire. Your love has the power. It sets my soul on fire. Our love will truly flower. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love. Gotta get your love.
There you go. That's not bad, isn't it? I like that. That was kind of, there's a certain type of music which, for me as a DJ, so basically, if you're coming here for the first time, this is a Brownswood showcase, but Brownswood is a sort of, I think it's the third record label that I've owned. The first one was a label called Acid Jazz, which had artists like Jamiroquai and the Brand New Heavies and Ghanaian, all those kind of grooves, and it was a really good time. That was like learning about the sort of the dark side of the music industry, but the fun side of it, and that was really good. And then I got poached by the majors because they thought that jazz was quite cool. But the problem for me was that I ended up going to Universal, which was called Polygram then, and there hadn't been any sort of boutique labels like Acid Jazz. So I was one of the first sort of DJs to make a small label within a major, and that was really scary. And that was 10 years of my life. But it spawned some good stuff and a lot of experience for me, coming to America for the first time, having to go to big record companies here and say, have a listen to Omar, have a listen to the Young Disciples, and some of them liked it. So that was good, and it kind of taught me a lot about how it works over here. But it was a great time for me, and we put out some great records. That was the second label. And the third label, I kind of got fed up with it after I did 13 years actually at Talking Loud. With I should have resigned after Ronnie Size won the Mercury Prize. That was the time to go. You know, it's like you win the World Cup. If you're a footballer, that's when you go, right? you don't stick around. Well, I stuck around for a couple of years, and I thought, no, it's no good. I should go. So I started focusing more on my radio stuff, and I got onto the BBC, which was really enjoyable. I'm still there, just about. No, I'm still there. I don't know if the BBC's around for much longer, but I'm around. I hope. Oh God, this is on tape, isn't it? Let me play this one. This is a brand new track, and it's not brand new, it's kind of brand new. It's never been out before. It's from Brooklyn, from the 70s, and Lewis Records are putting this one out. It's an amazing track by the Thompsons. It's called Message. Yeah, that's a good one. That's coming out soon on Lewis Recordings, the Thompsons track called Message. Been playing that one out a lot recently. So I was talking about my record label thing, and so Acid Jazz was the first label. Second label was Talking Loud. It was an amazing time, actually. 13 years I was there, and in fact, Louis Vega being here, people ask me what was the best record the record that you most enjoyed putting out. On Talking Loud. Well, there was a lot of them. I loved the Galliano live shows. I loved the Young Disciples record. I thought that was an outstanding piece of work. I still think it's worth going back, revisiting that record. And then there was a sort of period that was kind of what I'd call the post-acid jazz years, where the label really became what I wanted it to become, which was a label that reflected club culture around the world. And so that meant it wasn't just jazz, it was also about, it was all about the influences that I'd grown up on. House music, disco music, soul music, funk music. And as music was really changing in the UK, club culture and youth culture was really giving us some amazing new music, the beginnings of dubstep, the beginnings of drum and bass, broken beat, so many variations of this form that were amazing. So I wanted my label to represent that. So to work with Louis Vega and Kenny Dope on the New Rican Soul album, for me that was an absolutely incredible moment. So if people ask me what was my best, I think that was the most complete record we released, because it had like amazing guests on it. Mais attends, Lefto, je suis en train de parler là. Je rigole. Sorry. No, that was an amazing record because it had like all the guests and all the different types of music that I loved, like the Latin music and the hip hop. So he managed to get Roy Ayers, and there was an amazing party that we had, a launch party at the Supper Club. And Louis Vega and Kenny Dope. There's not much. There is footage of this somewhere. It's kind of grainy YouTube footage, but it was one of the most amazing launch parties. Everybody was there. La India, Jocelyn Brown, Roy Ayers, George Benson, Tito Puente, Eddie Palmieri. It was an amazing night. So for me, as someone who loves music, it was like as complete as it could possibly come. So I hope that Louis is going to make a volume 2, perhaps. One of these days he's around. But apart from that, there was the Ronnie Size stuff, there was the Four Hero stuff. They were all great projects to be a part of. But one of the records on Talking Loud that I kind of got a little bit lost but by the sort of public was, or the media, was a record by a producer called MJ Cole. And that was another area of music that I was really championing and loving. And it's an area of music that continues to be kind of popular again in a way, which is kind of what they call UK garage. And from that era, I want to play you a song from the... we only put out one album by MJ Cole. He had a big sort of anthem track called Sincere. But on the album, Sincere, there was a... in fact, no, this never came out on the album. That's why I'm playing it. Because it was a B-side to a 12-inch, and I continue to play this. It's such a great track. This is MJ Cole with Waiting for the Day.
Oh no, the power's gone off. Oh, it's gone back on. That happened before. Is it this? Oh shit, it's alright. I'm gonna have to reload, guys. I'm gonna have to reload. That's the first non-binary. That's what happens in digital, isn't it? It lets you down at the moment that matters.
Rewind selector.
Oh, here we go, yeah, actually. Hopefully we'll be here. I've got it under... Oh yeah. Here we go. Have a listen to this. Good vocals in this. Funny connection there. Oh, you did?
hand of my own. I was free from this weight of this heavy load. When I look outside my window, what do I see? A world without emotion, stepping back at me. Inside for the day, when the tears no longer fall. Waiting for the time, bring me into the call. Waiting for the truth to overcome the lies. It's a million miles away. I'm still waiting for the day. Who's to say that a flower has no right to grow? Take it away and see what it's left to show. In a world of concrete hearts and empty dreams, can you tell me what tomorrow holds? Are you just too blind to see? Yes, sir. For the day when the tears no longer fall, waiting for the time, bring me into the call. Waiting for the truth to overcome the lies. It's a million miles away. I'm still waiting for the day. Waiting for the day when the tears no longer fall. Waiting for the time when we answer to the call. Waiting for the day when the tears no longer fall. Waiting for the time when we answer to the call. Waiting for the truth to overcome the lies. It's a million miles away. Oh no! Come on. No, it's not that. Huh? No. Is it too schnell?
I just want to say that that is not me, all right? In case, although I was the guy. I'll tell you one thing right now. I was the guy who was. Bonobo was doing a big event at the Roundhouse in London about 5 years ago. He was just beginning to explode, and it was this big headline show at the Roundhouse in London, which is about 1,500 seater venue. And I DJ'd before he went on. And after my set, I had a cigarette in my changing room. It was the time that they were just sort of changing the laws about smoking, and the alarm went on in the whole venue, and everyone had to leave the venue. But I never told anyone. It was me. Just telling you guys. It's been long enough now. There you go. But that wasn't me, by the way. I don't know what's going on here, but it doesn't matter, right? Thank you. You're gonna. So, okay, we better talk about Brownswood Records, really, because that's what we're here about. For me, one of the things that was a big change in my life, the first big experience for me, was producing a record for the first time. Up until a certain point, I was just A&Ring, a couple of pretty bad remixes, and DJing, doing radio. And then I was invited to Cuba to do a record. And number one, I don't speak Spanish. Number two, I've never been in the studio more than 45 minutes in one go, because I'm that guy who gets really bored in the studio. So I go and I'm that A&R Kanye style, who goes in for 5 minutes and goes, yes, no, stop, no, and it just, anyway, that's me in the studio. I get bored or fall asleep. So anyway, suddenly I was in the studio, having to stay in the studio for a whole week in hot Havana, and I had to look like I knew what I was talking about, and so it was quite traumatic for me. But it was a lovely experience in the long. These things are always great afterwards, aren't they? And I worked with the amazing Roberto Fonseca, the pianist, and we made a record called Havana Cultura. The Journey Begins, I think. I can't remember what it's called. And not only was it heavy, in terms of, for me, just to get through this whole sort of new phase, but not only that, but when we came back to England and we released the album, we then, I don't know why I said yes. They said, can you, we're going to tour the gig. We're going to perform live this project. And this project was like a jazz project. And I was just that bloke going, make it sound a bit like this. I was the guy in the studio with my laptop going, can you make it sound like this? That was my kind of production. But it worked, and Roberto Fonseca and me worked. We had a good little thing going. But then we put the record out, and then they said, can you do some shows? And next thing I know, I've got to go and perform at the Barbican Theatre in London, which is like the most sort of, legendary, proper establishment theatre. And I was going up on, those nightmares. If you're not a musician, you have I've always had this nightmare, recurring nightmare, that suddenly it's the Herbie Hancock Quartet, and I'm the bass player, and I have to go on stage and I'm playing. I don't know how to play, and I'm with these guys. I've had that nightmare so many times. And this was me actually walking on stage, not knowing what I was doing, playing an Ableton, the thing where you just press buttons and your samples coming out, which I kind of knew how to do, but suddenly I'm with these world-class jazz musicians looking at me going, it's your turn. I'm going, so that was really scary. Anyway, it was all part of life's experiences, and I'm glad for it. One of the and so we then did another record. It was good. In fact, in the end, I did 10 albums in Cuba, and discovered or helped promote artists like Denai Suarez, who's amazing, and Daime Arocena, who's amazing, who signed to Brownswood. And we did on the second album, we did a record called The Journey Continues. And we did a version of Think Twice by Donald Byrd, and this is connecting Brownswood Records with Talking Loud Records, because I did a remix of that song, and I invited 4Hero to do a remix of Think Twice. So this is a Brownswood classic, Think Twice, 4Hero remix with Denai Suarez on vocals.
Think twice.
you, baby. You know I do. Why?
Pero la conducta pesa. Da-di-di-dum, di-da-di-di-dum. Piénsalo más de 2 veces. Hey, sin
You know I love you, baby. You know I do. I really love you, baby. You know I do. Twice.
Si tú lo piensas 2 veces, piénsalo 2.
You know I love you, baby. You know I do. Twice. I really love you, baby. You know I do. Twice.
So that's Havana Cultura, and it was a version of Carl Craig did that as well later or before. But that's such a great song, and it's amazing that the Mizell brothers, who produce music for so many great musicians, from Gary Bartz to Donald Byrd, their influence on DJs and producers still today actually is incredible, and that was very much a tribute in a way to the Mizell brothers, who actually last year there was a Marvin Gaye album that came out, the sort of You're the One, yeah, You're the One. They sort of finally sort of released that album that never came out, the album after What's Going On, and that's got 2 or 3 productions by the Mizell brothers, which is worth checking out. They might have copies of that here. Okay, let me play you something which I think I'm really pleased that we've we're developing this project in the UK. There's, as you know, there's a really great jazz scene. We're here for Winter Jazz this week, and for the third year I was able to promote British jazz at the LPR, Le Poisson Rouge. And last year, this guy played. Did he play? I don't think he's done it as his. He played it with Ezra Collective, didn't he? But in a way, there's one artist amongst this British jazz wave that I'm really excited to be working with. Is a keyboardist called Joe Almond-Jones, and we released his second record this year. And this is a track which features Georgia Ann Muldrow on vocals. Okay, that was actually my midnight record this year because I like to play DJ on New Year's Eve. Some DJs don't; they like to take the night off. I take the double the money on New Year's Eve generally because it's worth it. And the best thing about New Year's Eve gigging is that you can be really good, and the next day no one remembers. But more to the point, you can be really bad, and the next day no one remembers, which is really good. So it's basically double money for nothing. But actually, I do try and do something interesting. And this year, I felt I got it right with my midnight song, because to see everybody dancing about to Rebuild a Nation by Damon Locks was a really special moment, especially on a year that we've all had around the world. It's been so mad. So that was a perfect song and a perfect album. I do recommend that you get that. Anything on International Anthem. What an amazing record label. I'm actually going to go to Chicago on Monday to do a big event with a lot of musicians from the label. Jamie Branch, Mackay McCraven, Reservoir, Damon Locks, Angel Batdelwy. It's going to be amazing. So if you're in Chicago, you might be. We'll tell your friends. It's happening on Monday around 8 o'clock, and we're going to record it all for Worldwide FM, and it's going to be broadcast in about a week's time. Okay, so this is my last record. Lefto is going to play some songs for you. Then we got Alana's going to be playing as well, who's our representative, who's the main person from the label. Thank you, Lana, for organising all of this. Turntable Lab, thank you very much for stocking our music and having a great selection and pushing it. I know it's a tough game, and it's just great. Actually, just coming to New York, it feels like there's more record shops than before. It feels like there's a few. Yeah, it feels good, and everybody who came to my party at New Blue, thank you very much. It was brilliant. I've had a good time this year. I'll be hopefully coming back. There's lots of new clubs that I need to go and check out. Public Domain, Public Records. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm waiting for the invite. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this one. This is and they're playing tonight as part of Winter Jazz. They're the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble. I mean, what an incredible story! And they are the son. From Chicago, the sons of Phil Coran, and a brilliant new record, The Bad Boys of Jazz. They're playing tonight at the Mercury Lounge as well. So they've just given me this. So yeah, enjoy. That's a smash. That's a smash. Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, just out. Maybe they. If you drop some, you got some more here. You got some more. You can sell a load if you get them out now. That was called House. That's the B side of a double A side. Forthcoming album, right? Yeah, bring some up. I think people are going to want it. By the way, I just noticed that there's a book that I'm co-writer of called Freedom, Rhythm and Sound. I haven't seen that in the store for a long time. If nobody wants it, I'm going to get it because I haven't got a copy for myself. So can you? Yeah, the yellow one. Oh, there's two. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. It's a softback, but it's okay. Thank you. I'm taking that as part of my. They've given me a credit. They've given me credit. Okay, I just want to introduce you to the next DJ who's on. Who I heard him. I was doing a gig in Ghent, in Belgium, and when you go to Ghent, everywhere is about half an hour away from Brussels in Belgium. It's such a small place, pretty much, right? Little satellite towns, really amazing place. And I came over to do a gig in Ghent, and I got the Eurostar, and I came out in Brussels. What's the Brussels station called? Brussels Midi. Got out. Yeah, different story. You can tell that story. So we got out. I got out of Brussels Midi station and got my car to take me to Ghent to do this gig. And in the car, the driver was playing a radio station called what was the station? Studio Brussels. It was Studio Brussels. And the DJ was playing the most amazing music, and he was mixing hip hop and jazz and weird stuff, and it was like way ahead of its time. And what really annoyed me was that everything was mixed really well. Everything that I can't quite do, it was being done amazingly well, and he wasn't talking too much either, just enough, you know. Like me, I just over talk, and he was just perfect balance. And that's how I first heard DJ Lefto. And that was quite a few years ago now, and he's continued to fly the flag and do incredible work, from promoting Dilla to crazy house sets in Croatia to documentaries in Chicago and with Phil Coran. So this guy's an amazing guy. He really is one of the big champions of alternative music and alternative club culture. So please put your hands together for DJ Lefto.
When in despair, don't take to the air. Sit down and feel what you know is real. Creative musicians keep on rolling right along. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When in doubt, don't take time to shout. Just do your best and put all values to test. Creative musicians keep on rolling right along. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What you know is real. Creative musicians keep on rolling right along. Yeah, yeah, yeah. flor e mulher já é lugar comum. Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum.
São iguais nos seus defeitos, são iguais nas atitudes, são iguais nos seus direitos e até mesmo nas virtudes. Sei de muitos que só frisam seus espinhos, sua vaidade, mas as duas sintetizam a eternidade.
Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum. Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum. Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum. Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum.
Ambas usam a beleza como arma predileta para servir a natureza e atingir a sua meta. Elas são as responsáveis pela continuação. Deus as fez para que não morra a sua criação.
Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum. Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum. Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum. Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum.
Eu plantei dentro do peito uma flor feita mulher, num canteiro todo feito só de amor, dê no que der. Se soprar um vento forte, essa flor resistirá. Sei que só com a minha morte ela morrerá.
Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum. 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 Comparar flor e mulher já é lugar comum.
for life. Watch your baby Bobby. Watch you just stay because romance in for the phone. Watch me. I'm talking to my baby down on the yard. I'm on a romantic call. My man patch and I go take me fraud. I'm on a romantic call. I'm talking to my baby down on the yard. I'm on a romantic call. My man patch and I go take me fraud.
drop, brand new drop, brand new drop, brand new drop, with a 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 brand new drop, 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 with a brand new drop.
Turntables, an amp, MPC, and a bunch of records. And a bunch of records. Records.
Moyuba,
sense to me. Baby, I don't know you, but I wanna hold you next to me. Will I ever find out what's underneath all of this?
Sorry. Who was this?
Baby, we should time out, but I won't be calling it no. No. No.
You see the sticker right down there with the dude's head on it? That's from the album. Yeah.
Baby, we'll reach the stars. 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 Baby, baby, baby. Baby, we'll reach the stars. Baby, we'll reach the stars. Is it any wonder you feel right to me? When you take me under, I lose my sobriety. You flip me upside down till I'm trying to find a beating there. I'm back on the solid ground, and you knock me off my feet again. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What's up? Okay, awesome. Sounded great. Thank you.
Oh,
just so you know, you can buy whatever you want, but those guys used all of the time. Yeah. So if you want to do something where like you buy something, let them know. I don't know.
Oh, so you won't get
You can get them, but
you have to pay for it.
yeah, we discount everything, obviously.
Oh.
But what I'm saying is it was meant to be split with you guys, but of course they just had to do like nobody told them what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I think the guys just like took everything and threw it on the side, not realizing they were so instead of giving like everybody $50 or whatever. You know what? Get what you like and we'll take care of it. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, because that's why I just didn't realize like we kind of left it like however you guys want to do it, but we also thought there were going to be more people, so what makes sense is it's going to just be 50-50, but I didn't tell my guys that. So they were just like conducting it as people went out, and of course those guys bought a lot of stuff. So yeah, bring up what you want and I got you, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You might enjoy, let's see, these are some compilations, so you might.
Thank you, everyone. That's the end of the Brownswood install. Thank you to everyone supporting our music. Keep supporting our music, and big ups Turntable Lab. Thank you so much for having us and for hosting us. And yeah, keep listening, keep supporting, keep like buying independent music. And yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. No, I work at Brownswood, based in London.
Oh, okay, so you just visit, okay.
Yeah, so just here for this event, like Jazz Fest vibes, yeah. Yeah, really cool. So we're just playing music from our catalog. So all the music that I've made in Brownswood.
Oh, great, cool.
Yeah, so
I'll look out for it.
yeah, cool. Yeah, Shazam's it.
Yeah, I did so.
Love a Shazam. Did you enjoy today?
I did, yeah. It was someone on Thursday.
Oh, cool. That was such a fun night.
Yeah. It was, I love the venue too. It worked pretty well.
Yeah, agreed. It was just like, it was a great day because he did the Lot Radio takeover the day.
I saw that.
4 hours. And then, the Charlie stage. That was great.
He's like one of the businesses that
Yeah, there you go. He never stops. So I was really happy with what he said. Yeah, love it. Yeah, off to the next thing. Running off to the next thing,
Yeah, it's like when we were in the Roller Festival, because he didn't come into like middle through it because he was in Glasgow doing something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it's always great to hear his stuff. Everybody loves it.
Yeah. What's your name?
Raymond.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so